Good afternoon, everybody. Perhaps good morning if you're on the west coast of this country. Happy Friday. Welcome in to the Establish the Run NBA DFS injury analysis show for Friday, March 10th. Pretty light day. Usually we're used to these Friday slates, only 6 games and pretty light on the injury front. So while you may be disappointed to not see the great Justin Fan right now, I'm Gary Hartman filling in for him. If there was ever a day to miss, it's this light Friday. But joined as always with the great Mike Gallagher. Mike, how are you doing?
Doing great. Yeah. Let Fan relax here. Real light day. We don't need him. We got this. So this will for sure be under an hour. I'm going hiking right after this. So not a lot to break down today. So pretty light slate, but I got you though. We pretty kind of honestly like a boring slate today. But and the last couple slates have been fun. Like I feel like that and for me, for instance, man, I nailed like every little piece. I played freaking Noir yesterday. I thought Santi Alderman was a good call, but Steph killed me. So that was rough, but still made some money yesterday. But
I think
for the show later to talk DFS.
We've been doing pretty well. I could have had a big night because I leaned in on Brunson, and he had like 22 in the first half. He was fine, and then so I had like 20% Brunson compared to 3% on the field. And then obviously my night was crushed when he was out. But Halliburton flag felt good despite him being chalky when we realized, obviously needed some overtime there. But we'll talk about all that at 5 o'clock on the ETR DFS show behind the paywall. But, still some stuff to talk about here today. I think the biggest, 2 big Q tags. We'll start with Anthony Simons in Portland, who missed the last 4 games, missed 7 of the last 8, did try to come back on March 1st. Right, had played 20 minutes, left that game early. I know you were surprised to see him come back early in that game. What's the deal with Simons here? Do we expect him to make his actual return now?
Yeah, he beat his prognosis the first time he returned, and he aggravated his ankle. The ankle tweak that he suffered last week, as far as severity goes, I'm not a doctor, biology degree though. He turned it a lot less, so I think there's less kind of damage, if you will, on his ligaments. So I think he should be good. Would expect not full, but pretty good minutes if he can go. Something to watch. And I think there's a teensy chance he comes off the bench because Cam Reddish has been playing well. But this would regardless, this is going to really hurt Cam Reddish's role if he comes back. Cam Reddish picking up the second unit ball handling has been really a big deal and it's kind of booned his fantasy value lately. So he would be a big hit. I would expect, if Simons is out there, he's going to start. And then Dame, he's going to have to share a little bit more usage, a little bit more ball handling. They play him off ball a little bit more with Simons, but I imagine the way Dame's been playing as really the best shooter as a guard among like guys with 50 games, 25 minutes plus. He's been just incredible. So why take the ball away from Dame? But not a great matchup. We'll talk about the Sixers side in a second. But Simon's coming back. And then Nurk, we should mention too really quick. We had a 3-minute stint to start the first and then a 5-minute stint to start the second. And got one more longer stint and got to 17 minutes. I wanted to take an under on him, and it's just like it just felt like the guy has 2 calf strains to each calf. I mean, the guy is going to be managed long here, so I don't think Nurk's getting to 24 minutes again. Obviously, a really terrible matchup, and we saw also a little bit of overlap. They actually ran a Eubanks Watford front court for a little bit, which has made no sense to me against Boston. And Eubanks is going to get deaded. I mean, I've been talking about this. Watford's been outplaying him substantially. So I think Eubanks might go away. Curious to see if the books hang some lines on him.
Yeah, we in Slack on 2 nights ago, we were talking about some Eubanks possibly unders and everything like that because we knew you were correct to say that you think Trendon Watford has kind of secured that backup center role. But because Nurkic's minutes were so low, we still got 14 Eubanks minutes. I know you and I IKB'd, or at least I did, some of his rebound unders, and didn't work out for that game. But yeah, I do think that Watford should be ahead, especially with Nurk back. I mean, Nurk and Eubanks do similar things. Obviously, Nurk does it in a way better way.
Should note, though, different matchup, though, against Embiid, obviously. Curious to see how they match up when Embiid's off the court. So I would expect Eubanks to probably pick up the Embiid minutes there.
Makes sense. Totally. All right. Other big Q tag on this slate is Darius Garland. Garland's been pretty durable since really like January. He only missed 1 game since January 6th. And he obviously always plays big minutes. And are you expecting Garland to possibly miss tonight with this quad contusion?
At first, I thought no. He suffered it and looked pretty bad. He was down on the court for a little bit, limped around for a little bit. I was expecting a Q tag on the initial report, so I wasn't surprised to see the update on him getting the Q tag today. Didn't go through shoot around. I mean, these quad contusions, leg contusions are pretty tricky. Sometimes I always talk about the Cody Zeller thing from like 4 or 5 years ago. He was out for like a month with a quad contusion. He got hit in his
Yep.
leg. So never know. I would lean in despite not going through shoot around, but well, we'll have this information later. Probably going to be a game time decision. Pretty important game. But the Cavs have been just playing such good defense. I would basically like skipped it matchup. Like, there's no point to write this game up. The defenses are too good. What a gross game. Obviously, this would change if Garland's out. Karis LeVert would probably be one of the best values on the slate. They would certainly want his shooting and additional ball handling to attack the Heat zone. So he would benefit as well. And Donovan Mitchell, even in a terrible matchup, would be viable.
Yeah, for sure. These two teams, they just played each other on Tuesday as well. It was a 204 total. It was 104 to 100. There was some viability in DFS, and it is a smaller slate, so we'll talk it through. But from like a game environment to attack, obviously that's not going to be one. I see chat very upset that there's no fan.
I'm upset too.
I'm not even going to try to do an impression or replace him. You
just do. Let's just gotta do the rest of the show on Bernie to like satisfy the people here.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe some entertainment value coming your way, but yeah. So Garland and Simon is up for the two big Q tags on this slate that could impact things for sure. Another Q, Austin Rivers was just added, I think, on the 130 with the back. Yep. So a little bit of depth, I guess, potentially there. Any word there? Never great to have the midday Q tag.
No, he's pretty much out of the rotation. It adds a teensy bit more floor to Taurean Prince, who they like a lot, especially when they're playing with Naz Reid and even small ball lineups. So and then also it sort of helps them a little bit because Prince eating into the River stuff kind of helps them a little bit too. So but yeah, pretty non-inconsequential.
Agreed. Cool. So I don't think there's really any major out tags that we need to go through. Pretty stealthy. I mean, we'll talk about the Nets here in a second. They list Ben Simmons out, but doesn't really matter. Other than that, nothing surprising. So let's dive right into the Nets there. Last night they basically not only did they sit half the rotation, they basically sat half the rotation that was even available, right? They came out in the second half starting guys like Drew Smith. We were on Cam Thomas. He didn't necessarily produce, but he did get the minutes. It was Patty Mills that went nuts, but they basically punted last night's game, and now they have everyone listed available tonight, besides the aforementioned Ben Simmons. So they got Spencer Dinwiddie back, Claxton back, Cam Johnson back, and Royce O'Neal. Those are the guys that were listed out yesterday, but I think Mikal Bridges only played like 10 minutes or whatever. So
played the full first, and that was it.
Yeah, and that was it. So his Iron Man streak stayed alive, but you see on Mike's screen there, the minutes on those starters was crazy. So I expect them to be going all in with their normal minutes tonight.
Yeah, this is very April 9th vibes. Like last game of the season, let's just get these guys out there for one little more run. Did not. I mean, you and I were like, play Cam, play Day'Ron Sharpe, almost regardless. Don't play Mikal and all that. So we were kind of right overall, but I did not expect this at all. Patty Mills, Drew Smith. So like we saw yesterday that once David Duke subbed in Mikal Bridges' rotation spot, is like, oh boy, he ain't coming back. So yeah, truly a wild decision to do that. But I mean, going back to their previous game, they played these guys a lot of minutes. Going against Minnesota, I think Jay McDaniels would pick up the Dinwiddie matchup overall. So Mikal seeing a lot of Anthony Edwards, I think could be okay. Obviously, Mikal's been playing a ton, big role as well. So expect pretty. I think they're going to go pretty tight. There was a comment from Vaughn saying, play Cam Thomas against backups, et cetera. But we saw him add the rotation, and Nerlens Noel took his spot 2 games ago. So I don't know I think he's on a 10-day. I wouldn't be surprised to see like Noel go away. So we'll still give him minutes, but I think it could be pretty tight. I think that the Nets want to get this game in Minnesota today.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. From there, got the Spurs pretty healthy here. I mean, they've had some variety of Romeo Langford or or Doug McDermott or these guys kind of out in usually some combination for the better part of the last month, especially Langford. But Doug McDermott, Romeo Langford, Jeremy Sohan, all listed probable today. So, tough game, obviously hosting the Nuggets, but how do you expect that Spurs rotation to look with pretty much everyone available?
Yeah, I believe this is the first time we're going to see Sohan, Devin Vassell, Keldon, and Trey Jones on the floor in like a month.
Wow.
So yeah, and I guess this would be the first time. It might be since the deadline. So this might be the first time we're getting a starting lineup. Don't quote me on that. Of Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Zach Collins.
Right.
Taking over obviously since Perta went away. So yeah, minutes have been managed. We saw Vassell get close to normal-ish, so he could be back in gunning a little bit. We saw Sohan get a game off, which was kind of crazy since they haven't played since Sunday. So could be interesting. If they could hang around here, Denver's defense was really bad against the Bulls. So something just to keep an eye on. But we'll talk about the prices. But yeah, I would expect kind of normal minutes. They have, just to pull up the Tankathon stuff, I mean, it's pretty clear they're going to be near the top, and I think that they know they're like big dogs here. So I think they might, try for this one.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense to me. All right, going to the Lakers here. D'Angelo Russell's missed the last 6, but expected to return tonight. Probable tag, obviously a big get back for LA. I think they need his scoring, especially with LeBron out in a big way. AD also probable. So good signs for the Lakers there, as they are kind of the late night hammer, 10:30 Eastern start, hosting Toronto.
Yeah, we saw him go through a pretty good workout. It looked like he was going to play early on, and then they obviously ruled him out, and he should be good. He's kind of checked all the boxes here, so expect him to pick up the starting lineup. Obviously, that would take away Dennis Schroeder's role, who's been really picking up one of the biggest roles besides like non-star players. Curious to see how they overlap. We saw very little overlap early with like the early rotations when D'Angelo made his start. So I Schroeder may get his minutes like cut in half here, because Troy Brown's been very good. Rui Hachimura had a really impactful game off the bench against Memphis. So yeah, very Dennis Schroeder's role really could shrink here, and AD, oh baby, he is just cooking with gas. Side note too, he might get the OG Anunoby matchup, which is interesting because we saw OG guard Jokic a couple of games ago, and I think they're going to stick with it. I think, who's the best player? Let's put OG on him. So kind of wild, man. But yeah, because they could put Pirtle on Vanderbilt, doesn't need to space the floor, all that. So kind of wild. I think we're going to see a lot of AD getting OG for the 2-letter names.
Yeah, yeah, that is wild for sure. Other just small stuff. Kevin Love probable as well here tonight. You expect him to start for Miami?
Yep. Should be out there. Minutes are going to be kind of down. I mean, Caleb Martin's been one of their best players lately. He's made a big impact off the bench. I wouldn't expect a lot of playing time. We saw Gabe Vincent really get cut down overall. But yeah, this matchup is just so disgusting. I saw our Discords talking about me flexing. That's just me being lazy. There's just no point to write this game up, man. These defenses are too good. Just trust the projections, and I would not get deep into this game at all.
Yeah,
it's a good game. Obviously, I might bet it.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be fun. It was a fun game on Wednesday. It should be a fun game again tonight.
Yeah.
Kevin Love in that Wednesday game did start, played 20 and a half minutes, almost on the nose. So his minutes, as you mentioned, are down a little bit from when he started starting in Miami. 3-4 games ago, he was getting up to 24, 25, 26. He's down to 18 and 20.5 in his last 2 starts. I think a lot of that is to do with Caleb Martin and his play. And I think they can use Caleb Martin in this matchup, obviously, especially if Garland goes. They're going to need that defensive lane for sure.
And side note, way too much Victor Oladipo. Really bad decision making late in the game. They basically funneled the ball to him, Cleveland, smartly. With Mobley, man. Mobley he was just draped all over Jimmy Butler. Jimmy had a pretty good game overall, but I mean, Mobley's. If you listen to my defensive matchups pod, I put Mobley pretty high. He's not even a perimeter guy, but he is now. I just love his impact on defense, and I think there's a little bit of value of him on defensive player of the year. He's coming, man. His last month, I think, could really, really change some things in some voters' eyes.
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away on your pod, but I thought it was great, and I couldn't agree more with your number one pick. He's really taken a huge stand up. No spoilers. You got to go listen to it to know who the number one perimeter defender is league. But I think surprises. I think he's excellent. Not much else here. James Harden obviously missed on Tuesday, in that pretty big win for Philadelphia against Minnesota, but not even listed tonight. So we should expect to see Harden back in the starting lineup for Philly here. And they are at home against Portland in a game that they should win. I don't know how much they're favored.
Yeah, I want to add, there's if you want to play the James Harden party animal strip club Harden thing, Doc Rivers had a quote saying, we're telling guys for road games to be ready and don't go out. So they're okay, James, take the game off, have your fun and enjoy the Minnesota nightlife. But we want you back and ready to crush. And he's been freaking crushing. Harden's playing really, really well right now. And the Sixers offense has been clicking a little bit, still transition issues on defense. Curious to see who they start. We've seen them go with Maxey, right? Even when they were kind of with full health and pushing Melton back to the bench. With Dame on the other side, do they switch that? We'll see. So, and do they maybe boot Tucker out? I think they would trust Tobias guarding Grant. And obviously you've got a couple people to hide as well. So, especially if Simons is starting, I think that kind of makes sense to, boot Tucker out. We haven't really seen him go that route. They said they were going to do it a while ago and really haven't gone that way. But yeah, curious. First game of the day, so we will know who the starting lineup is, and we won't get it before 30 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be super interesting if they do decide to kind of boot Tucker to the bench there. I could see it happening in this in this matchup though. Okay, I think that's everything we had on our rundown. Anything else, Mike, that stands out here for tonight's slate from a injury or rotation perspective?
Yeah, really easy slate. I guess I don't have much to add. Everything else that we'll talk about more in the DFS show. I think that again, I was really high on the Atlanta Washington game and the overall shootout. Man, the coach quotes about just like not helping. I just love the guards. I covered Boyd Bradley Beal. I like Trae Young again. I like DeJounte. I still like DeJounte more than I like Trae. And their roles are pretty good. So we'll talk more about that. I think that's the key again. Getting that game right, I think is, and then getting into some of the later stuff and playing the San Antonio stuff is interesting. So excited for that. Sorry, no fan today, guys. I'll let him know that he's been sorely missed.
Yes.
But yeah, you guys are doing Gary dirty. Gary does a great job. And I'm the worst, but like Gary.
No, you're the best. I mean, I'll never. I always enjoy filling in on this show, but I will never pretend that the injury and kind of prognosticating on rotation changes is my expertise. That's definitely you and Fan for sure. I would call myself more of the expert on the DFS side, but I always enjoy filling in on these shows. They're fun and they get me in the right mindset for the DFS slate. So speaking of, we will be back at 5:00 Eastern. But Mike, how are your playoff best ball teams doing on Underdog? Because I know we've had a lot of injuries going on. We were talking about it yesterday. Brunson last night, another goes down again. I'm hoping it's not too serious, but man, we can't quit. At least I don't think Klay Thompson got hurt last night, right? Our cover boy of the YouTube video might be done. So hopefully that's good. Yeah.
I lost my two top spots, so I'm hurting right now. But hanging in there. I had a source tell me that Jalen Williams was going to play tomorrow a couple days ago. Hashtag sources. You probably know who it is. Let's get it. And speaking of Underdog, support the people who support us. This show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can play NBA snake drafts for money, and the dance is out there. Content coming, I promise. I saw Chris Lafigas in chat. He is probably itching and waking up and dreaming about doing best ball drafts. So we got you covered there. NFL content as well. So if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use promo code ETR at underdogfantasy.com. Promo code ETR. Shout out to Fan. We miss you, Fan. He'll be back. He'll be back soon, but he needs some. He'll let him live his life. He'll be chilling.
Yes, for sure. Again, if there was ever a Friday for him to miss, he picked the right one. So I hope he's doing well. Obviously, we will be back behind the paywall.
He's doing great. Good.
No, no, I didn't mean it that way. I had more men. Hope he's enjoying his day with whatever he's doing. So 5:00 Eastern. Please, if you are subscribed, check us out behind the paywall. Mike and myself for one more time this week. Dink will be back. I believe Dink will be back next week for the normal schedule. So, but you're stuck with the two faces you see on your screen behind the paywall. If you are not subscribed, we would encourage you to do it. We got 15, 20 games left of this home stretch. A lot of fun DFS slates. coming up, a lot of edge on these types of slates like we've been talking about, because you start having these teams that are going to be more blatantly tanking. So figuring out those rotations are pertinent. And then also you have teams that are really trying to make their run. So they might condense rotations, minutes might increase. We start seeing more kind of playoff type of situations on the competitive games. So figuring out that balance is really important. And we could help you out with that. So definitely would encourage you to subscribe to our ETR NBA product for the rest of the regular season. You can check all the
super quick
out.
side note before we sign off. OKC plays back-to-back Saturday, Sunday. I want to do content for that so bad. It's like so much edge when OKC is going to sit SGA. So
yeah, no, for sure.
I might do something. I might do it. I don't know. We'll see. But I think I'm really pumped to play DFS on Sunday, which I usually don't do. But anyways,
yeah,
you can take
that's
us out
a
here.
good call.
You can sign off on the host.
That's a good call. That's Sunday will be fun. It's also another 6-game slate, or six games. Probably honestly, the main slate will probably be 3 or 4 games. So, but 6 games Sunday and also selection Sunday. So you might get some, probably not softer. You probably get more. Tournaments actually might be a little bit harder, but regardless, that's where we come in. We help you out. So check us out. If you're not going to check us out behind the paywall, please do show your love for us here on the YouTube page. Give us a thumbs up on this video. Please hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend. We're putting in the work for all you guys day in, day out. Try to give you that good stuff for your injury analysis, for your DFS analysis, all that great stuff. So we'll check you out behind the paywall. Please do feed that algorithm. Nom, 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 nom. We'll be back at 5 o'clock, or if not, we'll see you on Monday. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.